Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to talk with you guys a little bit about the knockdown power of firearms and even things like the 45 ACP while I prime a little bit of brass. Alright, we all have that uncle or know that guy who's always like, well, I carry 45 ACP because you shoot that sucker one time, knock him flat. Knockdown power, because it's got a big heavy bullet. And people always think in these terms, but I mean, this has been not only been disproven with basic physics, but even the FBI's report. And again, there was independent data. It wasn't just the FBI's math involved. It was studies of videos, studies of autopsies, everything from shootings all over the country and the world with handguns, trying to understand how handguns kill, how they stop people, and how to improve upon that. Because the FBI agents were oftentimes on the losing end of quite a few firefights. Mainly because a lot of us know, look, the average FBI agent is not an extremely skilled marksman. They don't receive massive amounts of training, so they figured they could put money into at least equipping them better and understanding what the best handguns were. And one of the things that they noted, handguns and weapons in general, firearms in general, don't have knockdown power. And when I mean they don't have knockdown power, they're not strong enough to knock a person down. Basic physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. When you fire a handgun, even a 45 ACP, even one-handed sometimes, when you shoot it, it doesn't produce enough force to knock you, the shooter, down. Is that a fair statement? Have any of you ever fired a 45 while standing upright, not leaning way back on one leg or something, and been knocked down by it? Not one of you. You do realize that bullet, in order to produce enough force to knock someone down, has to push that same amount of force backward exiting the barrel. Not only that, we all universally agree that there is a kinetic energy formula. We all universally agree that bullets slow down due to drag through the air. This is basic physics. No one disagrees with this. You can confirm all of this yourself with a chronometer. You can test this for yourself if you think I'm lying, that a bullet slows down every inch that it travels through the air, because there's resistance. It has to cut through the air. There's drag. It slows down even faster in water, by the way. And so therefore, the further it travels, even the first inch out of the barrel, it's losing speed. The kinetic energy in foot-pounds, velocity is squared. It is more important than actual mass is to kinetic energy. So you're rapidly losing kinetic energy every inch that bullet travels from the barrel. So it will have less energy when it reaches your target at 3 yards, 7 yards, 10 yards, 25 yards. Will it not? Any disagreement there? Basic physics. And if we're going to discuss machines like firearms, finely tuned machines, we better understand physics. Well, if it doesn't have the force to knock you down when you shoot it, what makes you think it's going to have enough force to knock someone else down when it's lost energy? It has less ability to do so the further it travels. And on top of that, bullets oftentimes hit people and go through them, thus continuing with energy that it wasn't even imparted onto the individual. So again, less and less energy being delivered than was leaving the firearm in your hand. It did knock you down. Why would it knock the target down? More so, how about you take stronger firearms? Let's say you take a 308 from any battle rifle, a FAL, M14, whatever you want, AR-10. Anyone watched the videos of people wearing body armor that will stop these? Like level 4 plates, level 3 enhanced plates. Notice the guys don't get knocked down when they're hit right in the plate at point blank range from a bullet with 3, sometimes 4 times the energy that a 45 ACP does, and more energy than any handgun has. They don't knock them down either. They're absorbing all the energy. No penetration. Hitting them square in the chest. They stay on their feet. When people get knocked down by firearms, it's psychosomatic. It's in their head. Oftentimes our brain is programmed based upon social programming, life experience, observation of how we are supposed to react in different situations. And because movies and TV oftentimes show people getting knocked backwards or knocked down when they are hit with a firearm, people respond the way they think they're supposed to. And in some cases, that means they throw themselves to the ground. Now, that's a beautiful thing if you're being attacked by someone and they have that response, because you got to shoot them one time, they realize they're hit, and they fling themselves to the ground, because that is what they believe to be the appropriate response. However, that's luck in your favor if that happens. You can't count on that as a defense mechanism to stop an attacker. So when people get knocked down, it is psychosomatic, not anything else. And I know some people are like, well, if they were way off balance or whatever. Well, someone who's way off balance and you happen to shoot them is very rarely going to be self-defense, because there aren't many situations in which a person is off balance somewhere and you're shooting them and they fall over because they were off balance so much that it took very minimal force to knock them over. Think about that. That's not going to generally be a self-defense situation. Not saying people don't get shot in situations where they have no balance or off balance, but they are probably not attacking you or pressing an offensive or shooting at you. So that's going to be a pretty rare, almost unbelievable self-defense scenario in which that could happen. So you are basically murdering somebody at that point, or you are on a battlefield. And that's not going to be the majority of times that you would shoot an individual either, even in those scenarios. But yeah, it could happen, but not a person who's standing upright, somewhat balanced. Not going to happen. The laws of physics do not allow for it. They don't knock people back. They don't knock people over. They don't fling people to the ground. Even the most powerful handguns in the world do not produce enough kinetic energy to do this. All right? They just simply do not. And so this whole idea that knockdown power is real is just silly. And so if people think that that's the reason for picking a given handgun caliber, they're not making an intelligent or informed decision. And I like the 45 ACP. It's not what I happen to carry, not what I happen to use, but I have owned 45s, and I happen to be fond of the caliber. I do happen to like it, particularly for hand loading. It's a fun round to mess with for hand loads. It's a really fun round to plink with. It's a fun round to shoot suppress, particularly hand loading suppressed stuff. It can be a lot of fun to mess with because it's a nice big heavy round with this kind of a unique feel to the way it pushes you compared to some other handgun rounds. 45's great. It's fun. But this idea that it's going to knock someone down is not based upon reality. And to even say that it's a superior man stopper than a 9mm or a 45 or a 40 S&W, again, that's just not based on current reality and information available. Doesn't mean it's not a great round, but it isn't going to knock somebody down. And invariably, someone will say, well, if I shot you with my 45, let's test it and see if it knocks you down. No, I don't want to die and get shot with a bullet to prove something false that the laws of physics already say isn't true. I'm not willing to die just to show that I'm right. That's just silly, because I could die without getting knocked down. I don't want to have a bullet poked through me. So people come up with these absurd counter arguments because they just can't seem to admit the fact that physics don't allow for that to happen. You know, you might fall down because you died, but you're not getting knocked down. There is a bit of a difference. So again, people need to lose these myths and these silly notions that aren't based in reality or physics or machining or anything else. These weapons and firearms are machines. They're wonderfully engineered, extremely useful machines. They don't break the laws of physics. They don't have magical properties, and they don't perform miracles. They are machines, and if they're made correctly and engineered correctly, they do what the engineer who designed them intended them to do. Nothing more, nothing less. So again, guys, physics, science, engineering. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.